even if the launch was a success, I believe there is always room for improvement. Okay. And improvement doesn't necessarily have to mean more profit. We can also talk about improvement in terms of more fun, more enjoyment, more impact, more ease. Welcome back to Imperfect Action. This is episode 722, The Art of the Post-Launch Review. Today, I'm going to share 5 questions that will help you make your next launch even better based on the launch that you've just had. Now, if you've been listening to this show for a little while, you will know that I'm a big fan of launching the same offers over and over and over again. So I'm not one of those people who will say you need to launch a course and then you launch it once and then you move on to creating the next one and then you launch that and then you move to the next one, you launch that. No, I'm a very big fan of having just a handful of offers and launching them over and over and over again to your audience, so that each time you can improve that launch, you can make a bigger profit, you can make a bigger impact. Now, why do we care about the post-launch review? Now, I know it can be really tempting when you close doors on your launch to either pop the champagne or go and hide and never want to look at the numbers, never want to look at that launch ever again. So why do I think that you need to be putting a bit of time into reviewing that launch? So first of all, even if the launch was a success, I believe there is always room for improvement. Okay. And improvement doesn't necessarily have to mean more profit. We can also talk about improvement in terms of more fun, more enjoyment, more impact, more ease. It can be a more enjoyable launch. It can be an easier launch. It can impact more people in the future, but it can't do that unless we are willing to dive deep into the launch that we have just had. And when your launch is fresh in your mind, yes, you might not want to go back and look at it, but this is the best time to go back and do it, because otherwise you're going to forget some of the little niggly bits that came up or some of the smaller details that you might forget in a couple of weeks or a couple of months' time. Now, this episode is really timely because my Launch Magic students are in the final week of this round of Launch Magic. I don't know where the last 11 weeks has gone. And in the final module, I always talk about the post-launch review. Now, Launch Magic opens up again in 2024. We haven't set the exact dates yet, but it'll be late Feb, early March. You can jump on the wait list for that one. If you send me a DM on Instagram, I'm there at stephtaylor.co. Send me the message magic, just the word magic, and I can pop you on the wait list. Otherwise, you can head to stephtaylor.co/magic and you'll get the waitlist page with more details about Launch Magic over there. In the meantime, if you are wanting to plan, strategize, review your launches, I do have a couple of spots left for a launch strategy intensive before the end of the year. You can get all of the details for that at stephtaylor.co/VIP. Okay, so the first question to ask yourself after a launch when you are reviewing it is, what parts of this launch were objectively successful and which ones weren't? Now, when I say objectively, I don't mean which parts felt like they didn't quite meet your expectations. I mean, getting into a spreadsheet and looking at conversion rates, okay? Not how many people signed up in the end, not the total dollar number at the end, conversion rates. Now, whenever I work with a strategy intensive client, I love it when they bring me a spreadsheet with all of the numbers from their launch, because it makes my life so much easier in identifying which bits of the launch worked and which bits of the launch didn't work, so we know where to focus the time to make improvements for the next launch. I know it's so tempting to look at that final number, just the total sales or the total number of people who signed up. But here's the thing, that alone means nothing. Without the context, it means nothing, because a $50,000 launch for one person can be an absolute failure. But a $50,000 launch for another person can be completely life-changing, completely business-changing. Context is so important here. And the total sales number alone, that alone doesn't tell us much about where we can improve the launch next time. So Instead, we want to look at the conversion rate at each step. For example, how many people downloaded your launch lead magnet as a percentage of people who viewed that download page? That's going to tell us whether the page was good. That might tell us whether people want that lead magnet. Okay, so we need to look at conversion rates at each step. And if we know that a conversion rate is low at a particular step, now we know what needs improvement. Okay, question number 2. What didn't I enjoy about this launch? So, like business in general, launching is going to always involve a couple of things that you don't love, and that you can't always avoid all of those things all of the time, unfortunately. But there may be a few things that you can remove, a few things that you can scrap next time so that the next launch is a little bit more enjoyable. Maybe they are things that you can delegate to somebody else. For example, if you hate writing launch copy, maybe the next time you launch, you'll bring in a launch copywriter to take that off your plate. Or maybe they are tasks that you can automate or use software to streamline and make it a little easier, like planning out your launch content calendar or scheduling your emails rather than sending them out yourself. Or maybe they are tasks that you can delete altogether. For example, I recently closed doors on a launch for Boost Your Brand Superfans, one of my courses. And for this launch, I actually thought, you know what? Let's not really bother with Instagram. Let's just focus on the email list and see what happens. Because I didn't have the brain space to brainstorm Instagram content. My team were pretty stretched as well. So I thought, let's just skip Instagram altogether and see what happens. So you can delete tasks as well. Question number 3. What took up way too much of my time? So some things might take a lot of time the first few times that you do them, but you get quicker at them as you go. Like, for example, it used to take me forever to write cart open emails. Now, for most of our launches, we do have a launch copywriter who helps out, but sometimes, like the most recent launch, I wrote them myself. And there's something that I can do a whole lot quicker now because I know how to structure them, I'm more comfortable writing, whereas the first few times that I wrote them, I was overthinking, I had no idea how to structure them. It just took me way too long. Other things that take a lot of time might be just a one-off investment of time. For example, writing your sales page, creating your launch lead magnet. These are things that can take a long time, but once they are done, they're done and you can reuse them in your next launch and the next launch and the next launch. So for the things that took up too much of your time, can we speed it up somehow? Like, is there a way that you can make it faster? Could you maybe delegate it or automate it or delete it, like I said with the last question, right? Is there a way that we can get that task off your plate? And if you can't do that, that is okay. Some things will just take time, and that's okay. And now you know how long it's going to take. You know roughly how much time to budget for it next time, so you can be a little bit more realistic with your timelines and with your planning. Question number 4. What do I want to repeat next time? So in other words, what did you enjoy? What worked? What was fun and you really want to do it again? And, it's okay to do things in business just because we enjoyed them. They don't all have to be objectively successful things for us to repeat them. Let's say that you taught a free masterclass, and even if that masterclass didn't convert really well, you really enjoyed teaching it. Maybe you'll repeat that next time, right? Even if the masterclass didn't convert, it probably still played a role in somebody's decision to buy from you. So why not do it again if you enjoyed it? So go back and think, what did I really enjoy? What felt light? What gave me energy? Let's redo that. Let's do that next time. And then question number 5, what do I never want to do ever again in my launch? What do I never want to do again? Oh, like I said before, these might be things that you don't enjoy, but that you have to do, right? There are going to be things that we don't want to do. Sometimes, showing up and teaching a webinar, maybe that's really painful for you, but you know that it converts, so you're going to have to do it again, unfortunately. But what are the things that you didn't do that also didn't deliver any kind of result? These are the things to potentially skip next time or change. Okay, how could you change it to make it more enjoyable, more impactful, better converting? Or could you remove it altogether? And by skipping the things that we don't want, then that creates space for the things that we do want. It creates space for us to try new things and just see what happens. Because so much of launching is an experiment. We can never really have that guarantee that whatever we do is going to succeed. So let's throw some spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. And by taking things off your plate, you create that space to throw the metaphorical spaghetti and see what does work. Now, sometimes the things that we don't enjoy at first become more enjoyable over time. I used to hate teaching webinars. Now they are one of my favorite parts of my launches. My first webinar, I was sitting there counting down to going live, thinking, I really hope nobody shows up. And now I go live 2 minutes before the webinar even starts, just so I can hang out and welcome people and see where everyone's tuning in from. That's the difference now. So over time, you might find that things get more enjoyable as you get better at them. Now, I'm also going to give you one bonus question to ask yourself, and that is, what did I learn from this launch? What did I learn about my audience? What did I learn about my offer? And what did I learn about myself? Now, I think launches can be a great vehicle for learning about yourself. Did I learn that I actually can be confident when I go live, even though I didn't think I could be? Did I learn that if I showed up and opened myself up to judgment, nobody was going to judge me? What did I learn about myself, my audience, and my offer from this launch? All right, there you go. 5 questions and a bonus one to ask yourself when you are reviewing your launches. Now, if you're not already subscribed to the show, hit the subscribe button. You'll get each new episode every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday straight to your podcast app of choice. And if you haven't yet left a quick rating and a review, please do so in Apple Podcasts. It'll take you 30 seconds and I read every single one of them. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to my team because we put a lot of time and effort into producing this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Catch you next time.